Good morning. This meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners will come to order. Today we have for our invocation Joe Garkovich from Mercy Today Ministries. Let's please rise for that invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for this day, another day in which to serve you. As this group of dedicated individuals gathers this morning to do this important work, I pray that you would bless them, watch over them, and guide them so they can make the best decisions for all the residents of Fremont County. And I also lift up all of our county employees this day and all the days to come. Watch over them and guide them in all that the work that they do, all the duties that they have to perform. And all these prayers I send to you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Attorney Bellis.
Present.
County Administrator Croce.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Victoria.
Present.
Approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
And I second. I forget I have to do that.
I can't do it.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For our consent agenda, we have our typical fare of approval of the minutes and the bills and ratification of a signature for a grant for our Fremont County Airport. We're also scheduling a public hearing for Tuesday, March 25th, so a month from today. That is for the commercial development plan for Penrose RV and boat storage at 17225 Highway 115 in Penrose.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
And I will second. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving right along, if anybody hadn't noticed, we have an extremely short agenda, so Commissioner McFall and I have prepared about an hour and a half of remarks in order to make up for that. But for now, we'll go to our administrative informational and start with our staff and elected officials, and we'll begin with Mr. Sean Sutton, our Budget and Finance Officer, for our sales and use tax report.
Good morning.
Morning.
I prepared about an hour and a half myself, so we're on
Excellent.
the same page. Yep, so to get started, this is the final results for 2024 and year-end information. As always, we'll start with the retail sales tax collections. This is for December 2024, which totaled $836,085. This was $18,088 more than 2023. Year-to-date, total collections came in at $9,491,993. This was $16,523 less than 2023, but ahead of budget by $1,241,993. So, as expected and reported throughout the year, 2024 was falling a little bit short of 2023, but with that final collection, as Kevin has said in some meetings, decimal dust at $16,000. So overall, a pretty good year. A lot of factors led to a slowing in 2024. I just bring up, if you kind of look at the chart that's up there, from 2019 through 2023, we saw historic, pretty large increases all the way up until 2024. So we'll monitor 2025. First two quarters will be pretty good indicators. However, our larger collections happen, second and third quarter. So monitor them and see what comes in 2024, and hopefully we can avoid anything negative. Next report is the auto use sales tax collection. Again, this is for through December year-end 2024, December 2024 totaled $110,985. This is $7,510 more than 2023. Year-to-date, we were up over 2023, total of $1,695,307, which was an increase of $108,546, and overall exceeded budget by $420,307. I know we've talked about this in the past, but the September numbers, again, we had each of the last 2 years some transactions that we didn't anticipate. So we do believe 2025 will not meet or exceed either 2023 or 2024. But again, I think we've budgeted appropriately for those. Lodging, December numbers came in at $59,564. This is $7,599 more than 2023. Year-to-date ended up at $369,349, which was $17,025 more than 2023, and $14,349 ahead of budget. So overall, I know we talked about this one a couple times, obviously met and exceeded budget, but we'll monitor this one obviously close as well. Need lots of heads and beds in 2025 to exceed these numbers. Sheriff retail sales tax collection for December totaled $557,390. This is $12,058 more than 2023. Year-to-date collections came in at $6,327,994, which is $11,011 less than 2023, exceeding budget, however, at $602,994. Last report for 2024, again, auto use sales tax for the sheriff's portion was $73,990. This is $5,007 more than 2023. Year-to-date, $1,130,206, which is $72,365 more than 2023, and again, exceeding budget by $305,206. So overall, a pretty good year with a lot of factors that we had kind of indicated with, several elections and different things that could have tripped us up in 2024, but kind of just plowed through the year. So,
Okay.
that any comments or questions?
Anything for you?
Nothing, thank you.
Good to see that the lodging tax came up.
Caught up, yeah.
Caught up there at the very end. It was a race toward the tape on that for the lodging tax, but you're right. I mean, it was effectively even going from 23 to 24, and a lot of that, there were actually fewer heads and beds. There were fewer people in seats in restaurants. There were, but inflation and prices having gone up actually kept us even, at least as far as tax receipts go. That's not a comfort for those that are running those businesses. It was a struggle this year for them, and looking forward to hopefully a better year in 2025 for them. It's, talk about decimal dust on the retail sales tax, $16,000 less than the year before over the course of $9.5 million is a few hours of sales. If 2024 had been maybe about 10 hours longer, we probably would have caught up.
There you go.
So that's just how the world works sometimes. But again, a lot of that is due to the fact that we're relatively even, and it was a tough year financially for our businesses here. So anyway, thank you, Sean. Appreciate all your work. Okay.
Thank you all.
Now we move to our county administrator report. Tony Carochi, our county administrator.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So I will begin with the job opportunities that we have posted in Fremont County. At the Fremont County Sheriff's Department, we have a detention deputy posting that closes today, February 25th. And we have a patrol deputy posting that closes February the 27th, this Thursday. Our Veteran Services Office, we have an office assistant position that is posted currently. Department of Transportation, we have a heavy equipment operator position that's posted, and in our Department of Human Services, we have a child welfare caseworker position that is posted. So for any further information about job postings for Fremont County, please go to our website at fremontcountyco.gov. Sorry, Mr. McFall.
I gotta think about it too, every time.
Or you can contact our HR office at 719-276-7410. Pathfinder Park, a final reminder that we will be hosting a job fair at the Pathfinder Park Event Center on Sunday, March 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Community members will be able to meet with recruiters face-to-face and learn about job opportunities and openings in Fremont County. This event is intended to benefit our local businesses and community members. Food trucks will be available at the event. If you have any questions, please contact Stephanie Speck at 719-276-7399. Or you can contact, you can get on our website, her website at pathfinderpark@fremontco.com. Or you can go to our county website at fremontcocounty.gov. Bridge closure, just a reminder that Fremont County Bridge 120-211 bridge is closed indefinitely as of February the 6th due to critical damage. We do not have an estimated date for reopening. Detours, barricades, and closure signs are in place to alert the traveling public. Please use alternate routes when planning your commute and share with anyone who may not use electronic technology communications. We also have a couple of road closures that our Department of Transportation made me aware of. Elm Avenue from the traffic circle going west to County Road 143 is still closed and will be closed through Monday, from Monday, February 10th through Friday the 28th for utility work that is being completed by the City of Canyon City. And Grand Avenue will also be closed at the intersection of Ash Street and Grand Avenue from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. today through Thursday the 27th for culvert replacement. North and south traffic on Ash will not be affected. And that is all I have, sir.
So not much going on.
Not much going on in the DOT world.
Yeah, just a little clarification right quick. That bridge, just to make sure everybody knows, it's County Road 120, which is east of the cement plant. Part of that is state highway, and then there's, the state highway actually goes back to Highway 50, and then there's a little stretch of dirt road, which is County Road. And on that little portion is where the bridge is out, so you gotta stay on the pavement, basically. You'll be all right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Croce. Appreciate that. Any other updates or anything? Well, then, let's go to us.
I got a thing or two.
I got a thing or two as well. We got our hour and a half to cover, so.
I'd just like to start, Mr. Chair, by saying that Kevin and I spent Thursday and Friday again with Colorado Counties Incorporated, which I believe is all 64 counties now, isn't it?
It
Don't we
is.
have them all
It is.
as part of the organization? So it's a very bipartisan organization, and we looked at 55 bills over those 2 days that are in the state legislature, and we have positions to take, whether support, oppose, amend, monitor, or no position. Out of those 55 bills, this tells you the caliber of the bills they're pushing through, because as I said, this is bipartisan. 33% of those bills were opposed. As a support, we only had 16% support. We had 15% in the amend and 29% in the monitor, 7% with a no position. But that just tells you that 33% of a bipartisan organization are against the bills that they're trying to push through the legislature, which means in most of them that it's going to be an unfunded mandate to counties or local governments. It's not right for whatever purpose they're trying to push them through. There's so many things that are, there's a bunch of, to do with the Department of Human Services, which a lot of those are in the amend. We have a very good Department of Human Services Association that really gets in the weeds on these and recommends to us as commissioners to support or what to do with them. But a lot of those are in amend because they see the effects that these bills are having on the children or even anybody that they deal with in DHS. And that sometimes it makes you wonder where they come up with these in the state legislature, because these people that are on the ground see how this could either be detrimental or take away a lot of stuff that the people at DHS depend on. So everything from DHS to law enforcement bills to, oh my gosh, there's just so many. Local government, vehicle transportation. I mentioned one a few meetings ago about the vulnerable fee for vulnerable road users, which means somebody walking or riding a bike, and trying to impose fees. We'll call them fees because they don't send them to the taxpayers to vote for taxes, but on your when you register your vehicle again. So if you get hit by a car, you've got a chance of getting hurt really bad or even possibly killed. Well, they've decided, they've came up with numbers even at 10 miles an hour, it's 30% that you're going to get hurt seriously. It's 90% if the car's going 35 miles an hour. I mean, they used weight time or speed times mass. So it's based off the weight of the vehicle. And I think that one's going to backfire on them because those electric vehicles, the batteries are really, really heavy. So it could cost them a fortune. But it's a push to add a tax to less fuel efficient vehicles as well. So it's just kind of on the same agenda that they've had for the last couple of years of emission reduction and trying to go with gas. That one so far is kind of hung up. It was opposed by CCI. There's a lot of them, they need to go away. But
Yeah.
but we continue to fight on those, work on those issues and work with them for amendments and try to get them a bad bill. There's always going to be a bad bill, but at least sometimes we can get some amendments in there that won't make it quite as hard on the counties and local governments, which we've been able to do with some of them as in our organization. The biggest one we had, Senate Bill 3, I think you'll probably jump on this one too, which is a gun bill that was introduced again, and it did pass the Senate, but it came out of the Senate in a totally different form that it went in for, it at that point was not a county issue until they did all the amendments they did to pass it out of the Senate, and it did become a county issue because it puts a huge burden on counties. And I'll let you talk about the letter and stuff and the actual burdens that it does put on, but the sheriff's associations of the state are against it. There are sheriffs geared up to go up and testify against that because of what it's going to do to their departments. It's actually worse, they believe, than it was when they initially introduced the bill. Not to mention the constitutionality of it. So we could debate that for days. And the portion of it right now is the unfunded mandate that's going to be on counties, and it's going to be very expensive. And we don't even really know how expensive yet, just because they're making it up as they go. There's one part of it, Parks and Wildlife Firearm Training and Safety course system that they've got to build before they even can use it. So we don't even know how much that's going to cost. So we are working on these issues, and I encourage everyone to reach out to representatives and senators. If you see a bill that doesn't look right, reach out to them and get some information or talk to them about it. Some of them do answer your emails. I've emailed a lot of them, and I do get a few responses back. You won't always, but it's worth a shot. You can either leave them an email or a voicemail or try to get a hold of them. You do have the option to testify too if you ever feel inclined to go up and testify on any of these bills, for or against. And I'll leave it at that and let you take it.
Any fire?
You know, it's still really dry out there, I will say that. We're getting a little moisture, but it's still very dry, and the trees don't know that we've had some moisture because they are dry, and the way these winds are blowing, it's very vulnerable out there. So be careful and safe when you're out there and don't start any fires.
Excellent.
Only you
Only
can
you
prevent
can prevent.
wildfires.
All righty. So, I got a little bit of a list here as well. And I'll get to the bills that kind of declined to talk about it a couple of weeks ago because knew that this day was coming, that we'd have to talk about a bigger list of things. But first, before I get there, just wanted to let the public know, let folks know, with the radio having closed down and we're still seeking the best ways to communicate, and we're still using as far as county news and county business, we're still using our website, we're using our Facebook page. I think each of the individual offices, especially the clerk's office, and because elections is a 24-hour, 365 days thing that goes on, plus the business that happens down there. Of course, the clerk is always available for questions, and his staff, and open doors down there. Same thing with the other elected officials, including ourselves. And we're always available for any questions, specific concerns that need to be addressed, and we field those on a daily basis. That being said, there's also some of our offices that have a constant stream of people, including our building department, including our planning and zoning department, that meet with the public on a daily basis for whatever needs that they have. And they are available for you to come in or give a call to ask questions specific to what your needs are. And so I encourage folks to take advantage of that. And you see a lot of things online. And believe it or not, most of what you read on social media is not true. I know, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. But if you call and ask the question, I guarantee there will be somebody that will want to give you the correct answer and how things actually operate and how things actually run, and what you can or can't do depending on what your question is. So please contact us and let us know. We are open and available for those inquiries. That being said, there will be, now of course I give the exception to that in these next comments. We're going to have some, and I talked to the assessor yesterday about her upcoming remodel over in the assessor's office. That'll be in July, I believe. And that's going to be about a 3-month project. And so we'll be talking about that amongst ourselves and what that looks like. I know that where she'll be moving to, but we'll need to make sure we address accessibility for the public and what that looks like. And there'll be more news on that, but that'll be a 3-month process, redoing that office and doing, I think, asbestos abatement, and plus just the regular remodel that is being planned. So there's a lot to come with that, but I think according to Stacy, that will be after protests. And so she picked that time, I think, to try to get that narrow window of when there's the fewest number of folks that need to access the assessor's office and the assessor's records. But even then, most of that is still online for those that want to do their own searches for property searches and other things. And so keep an eye on that as we come back to you with more information on what that will look like from July through September. Hopefully it will be a 3-month project, and that's it. So keep an eye on that. As far as other information, Dwayne talked a lot about our Colorado counties meetings that we had and some of the bills that we've had before us as far as taking support or oppose, and it is significant. When we talk about 33%, there's 5 possible positions, and I think 33% is a significantly higher percentage at this point where we've had to take opposed positions than I've normally seen in my short time here. That tells us how bad things are. And some of those are amend. You take the amends and the opposes and put them together, and it's a large chunk of bad legislation. And that's just stuff that the county commissioners are looking at. That's not talking about the stuff that the clerk's office and elections and stuff and records and motor V and all that has to do. That's a whole nother laundry list of bad bills, bad legislation. or stuff that's in need of desperate fixing before it gets to the governor's desk. So there is a whole lot going on when it comes to all of that with the legislature. There are other things that can potentially impact our county and our citizens here in Fremont, including our state budget process. We're in the middle of I say we, they are up there in the middle of the state budget process still, and they just got through supplementals, and supplementals are fixing all the accountings for last year's budget, and now they're getting ready to get into the budget for the coming 25-26 fiscal year. When this first started out in the discussions last September, October, they were anticipating about a $600 million shortfall for the upcoming budget. That quickly rose to about $1.3 billion of shortfall. Well, then somebody got optimistic and it fell back down to about $750 million. Well, as of about, yesterday.
I think it was yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday, their proposed shortfall for the 25-26 budget is $1.2 billion again. So depending on where this yo-yo lands during the budget process here in March and beginning of April, we can anticipate significant changes when it comes to prioritized spending, cuts, revenue adjustments, and many other tricks. Instead of actually, downsizing the state government where they need to, we'll be seeing a lot of tricks that come out of their sleeves, so to speak. One of the things that they attribute this to is the significant rise in Medicaid costs, and a lot of that goes back to COVID spending. Money that was spent and put into programs that didn't go away. They took one-time money and obligated the future with that one-time monies. And what that means is they bought a payment they couldn't afford, essentially. It's approximately the Medicaid surge is now taking over about 1/3 of the state's operating budget, which is about $16 billion. The overall budget's about $40 billion. That includes all federal dollars and other kinds of funds, but the actual general fund operating budget is about $16 billion. And Medicaid's about 1/3 of that. That's huge. And it's only been made bigger and worse over the last 4 or 5 years. They're looking at reductions in state employee pay benefits, reductions in the automatic raises, effectively automatic raises. Those increases or lack thereof would amount to about $60 million in savings. So just kind of do the math in your head. $60 million versus $1.2 billion is, what's the word, Sean? Decimal dust. It's a little bit more than decimal dust in this situation, but it's, while it's not that much when it comes to the state budget, we have a lot of state employees around this area that are going to be negatively affected by this. So let's remember that. They're actually talking about reducing funding for higher education in K-12 as well. So this is going to be an interesting year, especially for a legislature that put a lot of the funding, automatic funding increases in place to begin with. The ones that created the problem are now going to have to try to figure out a way to budget for the money that they don't have, that they created the problem of. Anyway, that's a weird way of saying that. Anyway, enough on that good news. There are, again, several other bills that even Dwayne didn't mention that when it comes to even the Second Amendment. The Senate Bill 3 is obviously the worst of the worst and has gotten the most press and gotten the most attention. It especially got the attention of the sheriffs with these recent changes. There are, now that it's no longer just simply a ban of semiotic firearms. Now it becomes a bill to require training, require education, require more background checks, and all these other requirements that effectively, honestly, help infringe upon your Second Amendment rights. One is that it requires a sheriff to verify who may instruct a firearm safety course or an extended firearm safety course. Again, this is just an added thing for the sheriff to do one more thing in order for people to actually exercise a constitutional right. Some counties, this is a problem because there are either no firearms instructors, safety instructors in the county, or there's one. And I think the language of the bill actually currently requires it to happen, the person has to be in the county. So unless there's at least 64 certified firearms instructors across the state, one in each county, then some counties are going to be without the ability to have these courses that they're going to require, these courses that are as yet undefined, by the way. There's also the hunter safety aspect. You can have a hunter safety, that way you only have to take 4 hours instead of 12 hours of education. But again, the legislation, as it's currently amended, says that you have to have your Colorado Hunter's Education Card. Not everybody here has a Colorado Hunter Education Card. I believe Mr. McFall might have.
Yeah, mine is not. Mine is from New Mexico, but yet they honor it for hunting, so it is legal. But the bill actually says Colorado Hunter Safety. So what does that mean?
And one of our colleagues from up in Teller County has the problem with having a Wyoming one. It's going to be an issue. And that's just for being part of the training. That's not actually being, as far as being a trainer. The same person, our colleague up in Teller, has that issue. He is the sole instructor that would be available in Teller County. And that is not sufficient.
And I think, what did he talk about? That it would be a roughly 10,000 people surge trying to do that? And
Yes.
there's no way it'd be possible to do that. So
Yeah.
it just in Teller County.
You'd have to rent out the Broadmoor World Arena just for Teller County to do their firearms instruction. It also requires the sheriff to take 2 sets of print cards and submit to the CBI. That would be for, I guess, any purchaser or any person taking the instruction. I'm not sure on that one. But the fact of the matter is, the sheriff's department, there's already a backlog of existing background checks and fingerprint checks for the current concealed carry system, which is a relatively small portion of the population. And you're going to expand this, as you said, to, like just for Teller County, it might surge up to 10,000 people just in that one small county. Imagine what CBI will have to do in order to accommodate a surge in hundreds of thousands of people. And the accumulation of 2 fingerprint cards by the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's requirement to report information to the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, to the firearms training and safety course record system, which, as Dwayne mentioned, hasn't been created yet, and we don't even know what that is or what that looks like. This is a nightmare. It's not the nightmare that Senate Bill 3 was as it was introduced. It's just a different nightmare. It's according to the sheriffs, it's worse. And for the sheriffs, it is worse. Far, far worse than the original bill. And the original bill is pretty bad. I mean, that's an outright ban on semi-automatics, and mostly regular hunting rifles, semi-automatics. And so, again, if you follow such things and like to get involved, please send a letter to the committee members, to the governor, asking him to veto this. Unfortunately, the only reason it's in this amended form is because this is the only form that the governor would be agreeable to sign. He would have actually vetoed the other one, but, or we think he would have. There are other bills that are anti-gun, including Senate Bill 158, making it more difficult for law enforcement to in the procurement and disposal of certain items. It would effectively require them to destroy any surplus firearms that they have instead of making them available after market to the private market, which they're currently able to do. There's actually some good ones too, but the good ones will not survive for very long in this current legislature. There is the, let me find it here. There is a good one that might actually make it. Actually, it's House Bill 1062. It's a penalty for theft of firearms. It increases penalties for those who steal firearms, which will probably not survive appropriations, honestly, because once you increase penalties, then you increase the costs, and especially to the state DOC system, and anything that has a bill going with it, a bill as in money, will probably not survive the day when you have a $1.2 billion deficit. Boy, there's just several others.
So you mentioned that one up. It increases the penalty, yet there's another bill that is also introduced, which decreases the criminal liability of a person that shoots into a crowd and doesn't hit anybody.
That's right.
I don't get the thinking up there. So if you shoot in the crowd and don't hit anybody, it's just a kind of a slap on the wrist. If you hit somebody and wound them, then it's a little more serious, and if you kill them, it's of course more serious. But to pass a law that it's less serious if you shoot into a crowd, because they mean to kill somebody when they're shooting into a crowd, I guarantee you. To lessen that just gives them the fact, well, if I shoot and I miss, then they're not going to come get me kind of attitude, I would think. So I don't understand the thinking up there, introducing bills like that go against the other ones.
Well, we sit and mull over why people do things up in that building. We drive ourselves crazy. Oh, here's probably one of those ones that you don't want to fall asleep on, because even if Senate Bill 3 died miraculously, and all the others did, this one could be just as bad as the original Senate Bill 3. This is House Bill 1133, which is the requirements for sale of ammunition. Just bottom line, this is effectively a way for the anti-gun folk to control our ammunition. One of the requirements is the control of the access when it's on display in the retail business. And so can you imagine going to a Bass Pro or Shields or what's the other one up there? Cabela's. And you go in there to get your ammunition. Basically, all of it would have to be behind the counter at that point. And the amount of, this is a detriment to the retailer themselves as far as how they would manage that and how they would work that amongst their store displays, and as far as employees and how that would be governed. It would increase the age also to purchase ammunition to 21-year-olds. Of course, those that serve our country that are 18 to 20 years old would no longer be able to even buy ammunition in Colorado. Anyway, the awfulness goes on and on and on. I will only mention one other bill because I think it's really interesting when it comes to this legislature. Again, how things make sense one year and then don't make sense the next year and then do make sense the following year. House Bill 1040 is the adding of nuclear energy as a clean energy resource, which I wholeheartedly agree with. This is actually supported by CCI. We voted this weekend to support that. And it's actually a bipartisan bill, which is really remarkable considering the nature of the subject. But I think there's finally a growing recognition of the small-scale nuclear reactors and the positive effect that they could have on our energy supply and our energy resources here in Colorado. Obviously, we have to deal with some issues such as water and waste and things like that. But guess what? That's a problem we have on every kind of energy production. And so those are matters that we're watching closely amongst many others. And boy, I've talked long enough. And we've got a couple items of business to do. Anything else that we need to cover, sir?
Nope.
Okay. Just one, did you have anything? I do. Well, go ahead, and I'll finish.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To add some good news about the legislature, if you like your First Amendment rights for free speech, there are 2 new license plate bills that are probably going to pass through the legislature. So you'll have even more license plates to choose from. If you would like to see any of those, if you come into the county building and start walking down the hallway to motor vehicle, on your left-hand side, there are photo frames, and you can see all the over 100 now license plates that we offer to individuals that you may decide what is your fancy, and then if you want to personalize them, you can do that as well. So know that there are more license plate bills coming up and continue to hide themselves in the legislature and get approved and get created. So I just thought I'd mention that out loud. There are always at least one good thing that comes out of the legislature every year. That being said, though, just know that for those of you who do not pay attention too much to elections, because no one pays attention to elections, we have 30-odd special districts here in Fremont County. And usually their elections are in May. So if you don't know what special districts you belong to, in January, you're sent a tax bill notice. And on there, it tells you who you pay taxes to. Those are the boards you can vote for. So get out your tax bill and look at that information. If you don't have access to that, you can always go to the assessor's office into their website and see which special districts they have overlapping boundaries for your property, and you can see if you can vote in those or run for their open positions that are coming up here in May. So other than that, that's what I got.
Okay, thank you, sir. The only other thing I would mention, as I've noticed for the last couple meetings and this meeting, our colleague, Commissioner Bell, is not here today, but we anticipate that we might see her back here very shortly. So we will look forward to that, and of course, everybody will look forward to that because they've been having to deal with me and Dwayne for the last couple weeks. So, and we've been very unruly and hard to get along with. So be good to have Debbie back. If that's it, then we will move on to the next portion of our agenda, which is the citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on the agenda. Is there anyone here that would like to address the commissioners? Please, sir. Come on up here and hit the button on that microphone so we can hear you.
Just help me out, I've never done this before.
No problem.
This came up with, real short notice, Susan Levy.
Can you hit the button on there and turn that light
The very
green?
front one.
The very front bottom.
Right there.
There you go. There you
How's
go.
that?
Good.
Susan Levy apparently talked with you just the other day about the Royal Gorge Promenader Square Dance Club.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and she asked, this is short notice for me, so.
problem. No
So I'm coming in to essentially make the request that the county recognize square dancing as the county dance. The state has already done that, and it goes back to 19-something, I don't know what the years was, it's probably 1992, I think. But I'm gonna just stop right there and see where the questions go to, and
Well, why don't you tell us about the group and when you meet and where you meet and things like that?
okay, it's, we meet here, right here in Canyon City. We meet at the not the Royal Gorge, the Golden Age Center.
Okay.
And we do it on Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays. It's 6 to 8. It's once a month we have a club dance. Very soon, at the end of the month, we'll be starting classes, and we'll be doing classes at the same location on Monday nights. And that'll be for 14 weeks, once a week. So it's a club dance, so you need to be a member, and you have to be trained to a certain level to attend those dances, and the square dance clubs are throughout the state. We have two of them fairly close by, Salida and Pueblo, that are, you know, in range also. So it's out there. A long time ago, I used to square dance a lot when I was younger, and and a different age in a galaxy far, far away. And I started. I was looking for some exercise, and I just started doing that, and I got really into it big time. And I decided I should start more exercise, and so I took a test to see where I was aerobically, and I ran the test to see where you were, and I just went out there and ran it, and it was fine. That was from the square dancing. Square dancing has a lot of good physical attributes. It gets your brain going. It socializes people. It's a lot different than a lot of other dances. It's like line dancing is very popular in that when you're dancing with 7 other people. It's a very social gathering kind of thing. I think it's good for mental health, physical health, but we're starting to, apparently, before I moved here, I've been here 3 years. Before I moved here and before COVID, there used to be a fair amount of dancing here. COVID kind of brought that down. Well, got rid of it, but we're bringing it back. It's new for a year, and we're small, we're struggling, we're working with the neighborhood clubs, and we're trying to build it up. I think it has a lot of good social impact, a lot of personal impact. Gets people together. It's good for the seniors to get together, but we try to get the young people in and a whole range of people. So that was my unprepared speech. How did I do?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. What was your name again?
My name is Larry Richards, and I live here in Canyon.
Okay.
So
Well, fantastic. So Wednesdays, and what's the name of the group?
it's the Royal Gorge Promenaders, and I think officially as a register, I think it's a social dance club, I think. But
Okay.
we call it Royal Gorge Promenaders. And I have flyers. We tried to find the bill from the state that made it the state square dance, square dancing to state dance, and I didn't find it formally, but we got some printouts here. If we would like.
You bet, you bet.
Well, I have a couple. May I approach?
Sure.
Yes, come on up. Yeah, just give them to me and I'll take care of them.
That has the printouts for the wording of that. And also here, we have, I don't know if you're interested, these are ads we're putting out here just recently for the class that's coming up, and then we have information on the club itself. And would you be interested in seeing those as well?
You bet.
Okay?
If there's something you want to leave with us for that, then we'll take it and,
I'm sorting through this. I'm sorry for my disheveled
No, you're fine.
appearance, but I didn't want to do this because I wasn't ready. I didn't think about, this came up yesterday. And I was busy as hell, pardon my French, all day yesterday. So I'm just going through here. Okay, here's a couple flyers that might be of interest. She collated about 5 each of these. More than 5.
okay. Well then,
Somebody loses out.
whatever leftovers we have, we'll probably just set them up here on our bench outside the commissioner's office for people to see when they come by.
So we figure in the long run, the closer this gets to being recognized formally, that'll help.
Okay?
We just put that word out, where the state square dance, square dancing is the state dance. It's also the county dance. I wouldn't even mind to see if we can get the city to do it.
Well, there's the mayor of Florence in the audience. Maybe Florence will do it too.
Whatever. We're all in on that. So I don't know. But the bottom line, that we're looking for that, the county recognition and what I said earlier about why it is important, It's because of what it does for the people that participated in it a lot. It really helps people.
Okay.
I just want to mention real quick, Mr. Chair, that just for anybody that's interested, you can go to the Golden Age Center at 728 Main Street, get some information. But they do have that Monday, March 31st, 6 to 8:30. That's when they're going to have that. Their phone number is 719-660-4817. You can probably get information from there and
Yeah.
go watch maybe and see if you want to enjoy it and get involved or.
On that March 31st, that is a free class for square dancing. You know, we just show up and just have a good time. But it's a way for us to introduce the up and coming classes we're going to start offering shortly after that.
Okay.
And Susan Levy is the president of the board, and I'm the vice president.
Okay.
At this point, the board is almost all the members, but we're getting there.
Sure. Well, thanks for coming in. I know the three of us will probably talk about that as far as what we want to do in mimicking what the state did.
Okay.
But we'll have that conversation. But in the meantime, we'll get these into place for the public to be able to see them, and hopefully you get some response from that.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Susan will be glad I made it in here. I was telling, I can't do this. I don't have this put together. This is short notice, and I'm somewhat disheveled. She called me on the phone, and I'm not together yet. And I just drug out of my house and did this, so.
You did all right.
Well, you did all right. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Before you head out, we do have a slip of paper over on that back table. We like folks to fill out for those that spoke to us.
That way we can get your name right in our minutes and
Yeah.
stuff.
And you know where to find me if you need to call me in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Now, to be formal with this, should I address you as chairman or Kevin or what?
You know,
Or who cares?
for me, who cares? But
Okay.
if you want propriety, it's you can call us all commissioner, and
Okay.
you get outside of this room, you can call me just about what everybody else calls me.
Well, I don't know if I want to stoop to any low levels or anything. I don't know. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Brian, would you get him one of those slips for us, please, sir? Thank you.
All right. I expect to see Commissioner McFall there square dancing before too long.
Grab your partner, do-si-do.
Do-si-do.
That's all I know about calling it, too, right there.
Moving on in our agenda, we have no old business, so on to our long list of new business items. First is an appointment of a new member to the Fremont County Airport Advisory Board for a term ending October 1, 2027. Let's see. Make sure I get the right one here. Mr. Andrew Rath. So, if folks don't know that Fremont County is actually one of the very few in the state that has their own county-owned airport. And as part of that airport, we have an advisory board that kind of manage the operations out there, along with our employee, Wes Brandt, who is the director of the airport. And this group of folks are typically folks that are familiar with airport operations. And the application that we received from Mr. Rath is replete with some of his experience in regard to serving as a member of an advisory board in Washington and also being a pilot. So I think with that, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move for the appointment of Mr. Andrew Rath as a new member to the Fremont County Airport Advisory Board for a term ending October 1, 2027.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
All right.
Motion carries.
Okay. And with that, dun, dun, dun. We have our last item of the day, the appointment of a new member to the Fremont County Fair Board for a term ending December 31, 2026. Mr. Gannon Long.
I'll get that one, Mr. Chair. We got Mr. Gannon Long. We had an opening in the Fair Board due to a resignation of a member. And we got a letter from Gannon Long requesting that he be put on the Fair Board. He spent all of his youth in 4-H and was involved in shooting sports and livestock and very involved in agriculture his whole life and still is, and wishes to give back to the community that was a large part of his childhood. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve Gannon Long to the Fair Board to an appointment ending December 31st, 2026.
Okay, second. Well, is it now the time for his speech that he prepared?
Yeah, we should probably vote on it, and then we'll get him his
Then we'll get him
30-minute
to
speech.
an
yeah.
acceptance speech. Actually, you know, last time he had to speak when he came in here, but you don't have to speak
I've
today.
been in here warned with the last 30 days and I haven't.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Well, just one thing,
Yes.
these are normally 3-year terms. This one's shorter just because of the resignation, so then in 2026, Gannon will be eligible to throw his hat back in the ring again with another letter, so.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with that, we are all out of business. We are adjourned.
Can't believe that, too.